Africans, a historical perspective. Were the ancient Egyptians black? It's a question that sparks fiery debates. But what if the whole debate is framed the wrong way? What if we've been trying to answer a question that the Egyptians themselves would not have even understood? Here at Diaspora Empire TV, we believe the truth isn't in our modern arguments, it's in their world. We are going to travel back in time to see how the ancient Egyptians saw themselves using their arts, their own words, and the latest science. Welcome to Diaspora Empire TV. Consider to subscribe if it's your first time. Let's get one thing straight. The ancient Egyptians didn't think about race the way we do. The ideas of black and white as racial groups are modern inventions. Trying to apply these labels to a civilization that lasted over 3,000 years just doesn't work. Their identity was about culture and geography. They called themselves the Lemit and Kemit, the people of the Black Land. But this name, Kemit, wasn't about skin color. It referred to the rich, dark, fertile mold left by the Nile's annual flood. This was the source of their life and civilization. The hostile desert around them was the Shedret, the Red Land, a place of chaos and foreigners. In their mind, you were either a person of the Black Land, an Egyptian, or you were an outsider. It was a cultural distinction, not a racial one. Keeping that framework in mind is the key. Egyptian art is a symbolic window into their world, not a photography. The colors they used were packed with meaning. You've seen it on tomb walls. Men are typically painted with a reddish-brown skin tone, and women with a lighter yellowish ochre color. This wasn't a reality, it was a social symbol. The darker skin of men represented their active, outdoor lives, while the lighter skin of women signaled a more protective domestic roles. It was a visual way to express gender roles, not a survey of skin tones. Their gods were also depicted with symbolic colors. Osiris, god of the afterlife, was often painted green for new growth, or black to represent the fertile soil and rebirth. But they did notice physical differences. A famous painting from the tomb of Seti II shows 4 groups: Libyans with fair skin, Nubians with very dark skin, Asiatics with yellowish skin, and themselves, the Egyptians, in their usual reddish-brown. This shows they recognized a spectrum of appearances, but they grouped people by homeland and culture, providing they saw themselves as distinct, but as a matter of national identity in a diverse world. What did Egyptians and their neighborhood actually write down? The Egyptians relied boldly to describe their own appearance. To them, being Egyptian was self-evidence. When they did describe foreigners, it was often political trash talk, not a racial hierarchy. Perhaps the most quoted source comes from the Greek historian Herodotus in the 5th century. He wrote that the people of Colchis must be Egyptian origin because they are black-skinned and have woolly hair. The Greek word he used, melanchros, can mean black-skinned or just dark-skinned, and scholars have argued over its meaning for centuries. Some believe he was describing a sub-Saharan African appearance, while others think he just meant a sun-tanned complexion common in the Mediterranean. What this verse confirms is that people in the ancient world recognized physical diversity, but their main way of identifying each other was through culture, language, and religion. Today, we have a tool the ancients never dreamed of: DNA analysis. A landmark 2017 closest to ancient peoples from the Near East and had less sub-Saharan African ancestry than modern Egyptians. More recently, 2025, studies sequenced the entire genome of a man from the Old Kingdom about 4,700 years ago. The analysis showed about 80% of his ancestry came from local North African populations, while 20% was linked to people from Mesopotamia. This was the first direct genetic proof of migration between these regions. But we have to be careful. Both studies focused on individuals from northern and middle Egypt. They might not represent everyone, especially people from the south closer to Nubia and other sub-Saharan African kingdoms. Many scholars believe ancient Egypt's population was a cline, a gradual shift in appearance from Mediterranean north to the darker-skinned peoples of the Nubia south. The science doesn't point to a simple identity. It paints a picture of a foundational North African people who were genetically diverse and connected to their neighbors. So when we put it all together, the art, the text, and the DNA, we see a civilization too complex for our modern racial boxes. The ancient Egyptians were not black or white as we use those words. They were Egyptians, a diverse, multicultural African people whose identity was forged by the Nile and defined by their culture. To go back to the questions, were the ancient Egyptians dark-skinned Africans? The truth is, they were a foundational African civilization with a range of skin tones and features, reflecting their homes at the crossroads of continents. Their identity was built on shared culture, not skin color. By letting go of our labels, we get a picture that is more nuanced and closer to the truth. For the source of the script, you can check in the video description. What do you think? is the most important piece of the puzzle. Their arts, their writings, or their DNA? Let's know in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this presentation from Diaspora Empire TV, please like and subscribe for more diverse into the fascinating complexity of the past. Thanks for watching.